welcome to another special episode right here of MX24 Sports, and we have promised always to constantly bring you the legends of the game, not necessarily football or sports, but today we've got to start from a special touch point with regards to Ghana. We've got to start from football. Where else do we begin than someone who used to be a key member of the Black Stars? We're talking about a Black Star legend who has beautifully transitioned into the era of doing great things off the field and impacting the next generation of football stars. His name is John Paintsil, and gladly help me welcome him. Welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
It's
good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. It's been a while since we saw you actually play football. People do not know. Listen, when he was playing, he was him, but now he's another him because he's transitioned into coaching. Let me start from that point. What got you into coaching in the first place?
That's a good question. First of all, thank you very much for coming to my training grounds, and also greetings to the audience, those who are watching. This is John Paintsil Football Club and an academy. Yeah, what got me into coaching is a lot of coaches inspired me, especially during my time playing. Coach like Roy Hodgson, Alan Pardew, Steve Compella in South Africa. It's Compella who got me into the coaching skill, and he asked me to hang out my boot in time so that I will start early to finish in good way. So I entered into coaching 2006, 2017 when I became the South African Kaiser Chiefs assistant coach. And since then, I've never looked back. I did one season with the Kaiser Chiefs, and then I learned a lot from Kaiser Chiefs. So I decided to also come home and do my courses. Now I'm UFB. Certificate, coach.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And then also I'm done with my CAF B back here in Ghana. So I'm looking forward to enter the A-Lances, UFA, and then the CAF.
Nice. You mentioned some interesting names in the mix there, but I want to find out which of them inspires your coaching philosophy.
I think Roy Hodgson, and it's two people, Roy Hodgson and then Steve Compella. Roy Hodgson, who was current former coach for Fulham, Liverpool, and then Crystal Palace. Yeah. And also Steve Compella, who was coaching me in Maritzburg in South Africa. Yeah. He moved to Kaiser Chiefs in South Africa. Then he got me to be his assistant. So I think they have some kind of unique career, and then also how they teach and coach, and they make me understand that as a coach you are not only coaching but you are also a teacher. So I teach and then coach as well, so there's difference between teaching and then coaching. Like as a coach, you also need to teach your players off the pitch and off the pitch how they become discipline and also respect their time, being punctual, and take responsibilities on the field aside the tactical parts. There's a lot of things into coaching and when it comes to football.
Nice. Now, quickly, let me dovetail into the John Paintsil Football Academy, especially. That's where I want to start. What was the main thinking behind it? Because we've heard and we've seen from our players when they're done with football, some of them just go into coaching. They don't touch on creating their own academies like that. But you are an exception among the lot. You have gone into coaching and have also created your own academy. What was the main thinking behind the academy, John Paintsil Academy?
Very good question. What inspired me, what motivates me to put up John Paintsil Football Club and Academy is I always remember where I'm coming from. In this world, human beings must remember where you're coming from. So when you start doing something, you know why you're doing it.
Yeah.
I believe that when I was growing up, it was very difficult. I was in a difficult situation, not coming with a family that has a lot of money. It was difficult when it comes to even paying my school fees was something else. Also get opportunity to play football, getting football boots, where to sleep. That was very challenging. So I believe that there's young lads who want to play the game to the highest level, who need freedom to play, but they are not getting that freedom. So I took that initiative. I know I can't do it alone. I'm trying my best to see, when I do it well, I know we have people who come and support the team. So I took the initiative. I scout. Sometimes go to Boli Bamboy to pick players, go to Northern Sector, go to Western region, go to Volta region. You saw a lot of players when you came here today.
Yeah. Well, we got to them.
They are not from Accra here, they are from
Wow.
outside Accra. So we house them, we feed them, we give them allowances, and also we register them. They are playing the league. Division 2 league, we are in Zone 5. Yeah. Currently, we are on the top of the log. The boys are doing well. So I believe that these young boys are the future for Ghana, and they need freedom to play. That's why I took that initiative. It's nobody give me anything to support the team, but I love the game, and I remember where I'm coming from. That is why you see me in this heat, trying to give back to the society and help the young players to become the better professionals and then great players.
Wonderful. You mentioned about giving them the freedom to play. Invariably, that means helping them to express themselves better on the pitch. I want to ask you this question. You mentioned a lot of regions. What is the farthest place you've had to go to bring a player to your academy?
Yeah, sometimes I drove like a midnight, 12 a.m. to Boli Bamboy, which I do it every year. So start from Techimai, Wenchi, Boli Bamboy itself, Jama, Banahinkro. That's a savannah area.
Yeah.
Sometimes too, I find myself in Wa. Go to Boga.
Wow.
To Bando. So I can't mention all, but
wow.
Western. So I believe that there's a lot of talented players hidden in the corner. So that's how far I can go to bring players and also house them and make sure they are okay, they eat well, they train, give them all the professionalism in football, teach them after the training. We also talk them about football, life after football, like I'm here doing. Yeah. After my career, I know that I have to enter into coaching and become a coach, and then also learn a little bit about administrative work to become CEO or a chairman himself, and also employ coaches, which are under me. They also learn my philosophy, my work. So whenever I'm not around, they take over. And they are doing perfect. You saw about 5 coaches here when you came. Yeah, so it's also good to also impact in the other coaches who want to become like great coaches in future. And most of them too, I sponsor them to do their coursing. Some of them, their courses, the CAF C is about to comment for them. Some are from Central region and all. So it's a lot that I carry on my shoulder.
Yeah.
I know I can't do all, but God will do.
Wonderful. God will do, but I proud to this question, you mentioned finances. In this particular answer also, you just mentioned a lot of finances. How are you able to fund all this? Because your shoulders must be heavy.
It is heavy. We are managing. We have played, we saved something. And also sometimes God works in his own way. Yeah. Recently I had an appointment to become an assistant coach for the Black Stars. Yeah. And also I'm into contract, which I also get paid from there to support the team. It's also doing the work of football for Ghana. So having my salary there is not only me, but it's also giving back to the young boys who need the freedom to play. So it's also supporting the team.
At this point in time, I think the motto for your academy and football club should be freedom to play. because it's been running consistently in the conversation so far. But that's a bit on the lighter side. But now, you house them, you feed them. There's that discipline you also mentioned first of all. How these guys are all coming from different backgrounds. How are you able to maintain that level of discipline among them? Because you keep mentioning discipline. So without discipline, you can't play football or even impact on football.
Right.
So how are you able to get them to the level required, discipline-wise, so that they can constantly play? Because I'm not saying this because you are here. So you know we're here earlier. And none of your guys were late. That one will tell you for a fact.
You're right.
None of your guys were late. So that was a taking point for us that we observed. We stood back and observed that part as well. That they came as a group. No one came later from anywhere. That shows that there's some level of intentional training going on. So what level of discipline and how are you able to instill such discipline into the lads?
Yeah, I think as a coach, your behavior will always reflect on the boys. So if you're a coach, if you're a leader and you're disciplined, definitely you're going to have a disciplined house. But if you are indisciplined, there's no way you have a disciplined house. Myself, I'm a very disciplined. I respect time.
Yeah.
When it comes to punctuality, like you said, the boys were here because if we are starting at 12, we're expecting everybody to be here by 11:30 to tie your boots, your hose on, your jersey on. So 12 o'clock, we'll start straight. It's not 12 o'clock. I don't want to see players 12 o'clock that we have to start training and you see them tying their boots. So everybody has to be ready. 12 o'clock, we start sharp. And beginning when you get them, it's hard. But like I said, how you behave yourself, the players will adopt it quickly. And these boys are very good boys. I will be honest. They adopt the system easy, so fast. Because myself, most of them used to watch me or they've heard of me. So even the name itself inspired them. So if I dating myself here, excuse my word, it's going to affect them. Whatever I'll do will affect them. If I do well, they benefit from it. So they listen. There are boys who listen, who take instructions, who understand the philosophy of the club and then academy. The respect is there. Everybody has a responsibility of their own. And we don't manage their personal lives because as a coach, players' personal lives, you cannot touch it. But you can only be there to advise them. That's what we do here because that will help them when they get to the top. For instance, when I go to England, you just rent your own place, get your salary, you play football every month. Nobody cares what is happening after. But you make sure whatever you do will not affect the club.
Yeah.
So I've learned all this and then I'm trying to instill it in the players to understand this is what is inside when you want to become a professional footballer and play to the highest level. So for me, when it comes to discipline, the boys are, which I trust them. Like when we started, this is our first season for second division.
Oh.
And nobody thought at this time we'll be on the top of the log. So with discipline and hard work, and then loyalty, when I talk about loyalty, is the boys I trust. I trust the coaches, everyone around here. We have our doctor, we have our media people who work. So we're trying to establish something very big in the future because I'm looking forward to seeing myself like a Kaizer Chiefs in South Africa. They have done so well.
Yeah.
Kaizer Mutau have done so well. He was a footballer and he learned a lot. And when he established that team, nobody thought Kaizer Chiefs would be where they are. So it's a club that inspired me, that I'm looking forward to see my team one day become like Kaizer Chiefs.
Wonderful. I like where the dream is going. Trying to emulate one of the very best on the African continent in recent times and also have a great history. But I also want to say something here quickly that not because you are here, I want to state unequivocally that it's not because you are here, but your guys gave us a time that you would be here, and 1 second did not pass. You were here exactly at that moment. So that's just to commend you on the side of discipline and how you execute discipline and place it on a high pedestal. We're grateful for that kind of implementation as well. But totally, how many players are in the academy now?
Okay, right now we have about 50 players.
Wow.
In the clubhouse, and then we have 15 that we think they are experienced enough. Those who are playing the second division league, which we rent a place around the field for them.
Wow.
So in total, we can say we are about almost 70 players. So
wow.
We manage them. We have the youngsters like 14 to 16. We have 17 to 18, then 19 to 20. So we manage them, especially when it's a training session. You saw it today that we mix them.
Yeah.
So we want the young ones to also compete with the seniors. As I was competing with my seniors when back in the days when I used to play for Brekum Arsenals. Because I believe that you don't wait for the young lad to get to 18 or 17 before you give him the opportunity. So here when you are 14 or 13 years and you can play, we give you the opportunity.
Wonderful.
That's why you saw those young boys who were competing with the seniors.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. But quickly, aside the work that happens on the pitch, today we saw it was much more of intensive training going on, playing in different sets and other things. Is there that time also that they don't come onto the pitch and there's a classroom, they are taught other things as well? Because you being a former player, I know you have experienced a lot of these things.
Yeah. We do more on the video analysis, especially their training and the matches. When there's a training, we bring our cameraman, especially when we are working on the passing drills and then technique and the tactics. We bring the cameraman who will be standing up there to video. And then after training, in the evening, we put them in the room so they watch themselves where they can improve and where they think they are lacking. And that helps them. And when it comes to school, we have the young ones who are in school. We allow them to go to school. When they are off days, they come for the training. And some also, we agree with the school that we give them Monday to Wednesday, then we'll have them Thursday and Friday, which it's also agree on some of the boys. So for me, I always encourage the players to have the education. You must read and understand, because in future, you must understand your contract you're going to sign. I won't be there for you at that time. So education is very, very important. Although if you want to become a footballer, first you need to have the education. It's very, very important.
Wonderful. Speaking about education, I've not even told John Paintsil about this, but my aunt taught you in school.
Hey!
Yes, all the way in Brekum. So
okay.
I'll tell you that off camera.
All right.
I know you're surprised.
Yeah, right.
But anyways, going forward, 5 years time, where do you want to see your club be?
Yeah, I think in 5 years time from now, I want to see my club at least halfway of Kaizer Chiefs. Yeah, that's my target. It's a club that I admire, and it's a club that no one can see it falling. It's a club that grows every year, every season by season. The administrative work there are fantastic, and it's a team that has put me where I am now. Yeah.
Halfway through, nice. But so far, have you had any success story that you want to tell us about some of the products of your club? The big exploits that some of them have already done?
Yeah, at the moment, I would say we have players who lives individually. In the beginning, we were just doing it for fun, but we have players who have traveled outside, who are in Spain now. Some are doing trials, and very soon we'll hear from them. And also, where the club begins was very low, but now we believe that our name is in everywhere.
Yeah.
When it comes to second division league, we are trade to many clubs, and our achievement now is we are on top of the log. And we believe that we can do more, we can do well. And we are praying that in the near future we'll have our own stadium and build a stadium for, let's say, 5,000 capacity. That's one of the dreams that I have, which I'm about to take steps on it. Because here where we are now, we are renting. We pay every month, and because I'm one man doing it, and I believe that when you do things right, definitely you're gonna get support. So I want to manage it for now and see where we will find ourselves in the near future.
Wonderful. So if someone wants to be recruited into the academy, is there a process, or you have to discover them outside? Because sometimes there are academies that put out request or interest that there's a justifier. You can come and justify your inclusion in the academy. However, there are others also who go out to scout for the players. Do you enjoy going out more to scout for the players, or you believe more in the justify system?
Before I was doing it alone, travel far to pick players, and right now I have more than 6 coaches who understand my philosophy, what I need, what I want. So they are also going around to pick players. But we open the doors for everyone. Here, when we are here, you see people bringing their players to come and try and train with us. And then when the player train, and I feel like, yeah, he has the potential, we keep the player. Here we don't charge. We only take talented players, and then we polish. So our doors are always open for those we think they can place to the highest level, not just any player.
Nice. But let me ask you this question. Now, as a coach, you have certain ideals in your mind for certain positions on the pitch. So, ideally, for you, how should a defender in the modern game be?
Yeah, I think it all comes to one system. I mean, as a coach, when you are building a team, you are not building the team based on one position, but it's all position that players must understand. So that's what I'm saying. That side is a teaching phase. We have a coaching phase and then teaching phase.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you are fullback and you are going up to a left winger. The left winger is using his right foot. His left foot, so he wants to use the line. So there's a way of showing him inside, stop the line so that he don't go to his strong leg. So show him to his weak leg. For once you go inside, you have more players that will support you. But if you allow him to go on the line, it's one-on-one against you. And if you have speed, he will overtake you. So it's a basic things that we teach players to understand when it comes to defending one-on-one defending and also defending as one unit on the field of play.
That's a defensive masterclass there. If you are watching and you just replay this part, you would hear so much in that few words that were said. I'm not the coach here today, please. Today I'm not doing anything tactical. I'm just asking questions. That's really interesting. Now, let's look into the future a bit. Now you have your UEFA B. Hopefully you get to the pro level. Are you looking to only stay with your club or also explore other options by trying to go outside and coach outside?
Of course, I want to become one of the greatest coaches in Europe. That is why whatever I'm doing here, I pick coaches to train them. So when I'm not here, they can take over. I have a big dream to coach outside and also to become a big administrator in the Ghana football to help those who don't have, like I said, freedom is very, very important for players who don't have it. So the doors will be opened. I wish I have everything to support every player in Ghana, but that time will come. So yeah, definitely I'm looking forward to studying in Europe.
So we're still hanging out here on the pitch. Yes, now we've come to the dugout with the legend himself, John Paintsil, I should say, because there's always that complication between John and Joseph. Are you guys related?
Paintsil are one family.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's your
We are from one place. Every Paintsil, we are many.
Okay.
But we are one family.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. So that's your junior brother slash nephew. Now let me talk about how you are able to encourage the players to have a balanced life, because you are one of the few players who went out there and still have a balanced life. The family was balanced, career was balanced, everything was balanced. So how are you able to inculcate such things into the players?
I think I have a lot of experience growing up, and like as a leader, as a coach, I will use my experience and my lifetime to impact in players. So I always advise them how you can relate to your personal lives, like training. After training, when you are going home, you know you need to rest. This is how you do it. There's certain things you cannot do when you play football. Like now I'm 43 years, and since I was born, I've never tasted alcohol or cigarette or smoke.
Wow.
So this becomes a discipline side again, because if you are not disciplined, there's certain things you cannot follow.
Yeah.
You see, so then one player was asking, "Coach, really?" I said, "Yeah. To date, I've never tasted alcohol or smoke." So how you carry yourself, there's certain things when you are doing now and you cannot do in the future, you lock yourself in the room. For instance, example, you start putting necklace, you blow your hair yellow, you see, you put wristwatches, you put you put certain things that in the future you cannot
Carry
buy
along.
them. So it becomes a problem. So everybody that knows me, this is me. With or without, you know. So I always use myself to educate my players so that they can have that balance of playing football and also have a social life.
Wonderful. Now, let's quickly talk about other interests of yours. You definitely have other hobbies and other things you partake in aside football. These players you are motivating and inspiring and turning into greats also have things like that. Let me start with you though. Aside football, do you play any other sports?
I play volleyball.
Wow.
Yeah, because I used to do it in school.
Ooh.
Yeah, I play volleyball, but here we don't have chance, no time anymore. All my time on the boys. Yeah, but any chance I have, go to mountains, Eburi or Kropon sometimes to play with my old friends. Yeah.
Wow. That's it. Who would have thought that you'd play volleyball?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I play volleyball.
Wow. So wait, let's deviate a bit. Would you look to adding a volleyball team to the academy?
No.
I understand that part. I understand that part. Wow, that's interesting. Now let's see. Moving forward, how are you able, or would you be able to continue funding this project? Because 70 people, feeding them daily, you are putting roof over their heads, giving them stipends. That's a whole lot. That's literally, you have 70 children to take care of.
Yeah.
And that's even aside of the assistant coaches who are numbering 6.
Yeah.
And then there are other people as well.
Yeah, we have
with
doctors,
that.
medias.
Exactly. Going forward, is there a way that you think that finance of sports in Ghana especially should change?
I wouldn't say that. For me, like I said, I've traveled and I've learned. If you want to do well in your own house, you need to clean your own house well. You do your best. That is why when you're running a company or any organization, it's important to have all the departments employ people to work so that they can bring funds on the table for you. So right now we have I'm trying to get marketers in the team so they can market the team.
Wow.
Also write sponsors proposal outside so we can see the corporate board who will come in to help the team. So it's how you do your things that will attract many companies to come and support. We have a lot of corporate boards with corporate responsibilities for people to do, but it's the way you structure your place. Yeah. So Right now, because I'm doing everything on my own, I need to put the right structure, do things right, and I know, okay, this departure is fine, this department is fine, this department is fine. Then when I'm going out with my proposal, I know what I'm standing on. Because if I'm running my football club, and the football club, even bank account number is in my name, and then I'm going for sponsorship, do you think I will get it?
That's very true.
Yes,
That's
so
very,
you
very
need
true.
to do right things. You do the right things, and the right things will come in. So for me, I don't like putting my nose into people's business and then see that because I have chose to do football. So if I'm not ready to do it, I shouldn't do it. Yeah, because I'm ready to do it, I'm doing it. But when it gets to where I think I need the support and I know that I have the right materials to go for it, then quickly I will go for it. So if I have my bus, you came here, you saw the team bus,
Yeah.
we have the clubhouse, and then if we want corporate ball to come in to sponsor us, we have the return. We have our bus, we can brand our bus with their logos, and then so
that's true.
we are asking for this, they give it to us, we also do that. So this is how we can do it for football clubs can go forward. Because that's where you also get money to support the team, even the water to support the team. Yeah. So small things, when you get them together, it's something that's going to be big for the club.
Wonderful. Now, quickly, let me just throw this in. How would you feel if your players, even just one, gets selected to be part of the team that would play for the Black Stars in a World Cup?
It will be great. To be great, and I believe that the players that I have, they're capable of playing to that level, and which I'm always happy because I always go for quality. I need quality. I always want quality, and I believe the players that I have stand a chance one day to be part of the national teams, not only Black Stars, but under 17, under 20, under 23, and then the senior national team.
Wonderful. We are wrapping it up, but I want you to have two different messages. I want you to use your experience to tell inspiring words to up and coming footballers first. We'll come to coaches next.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can tell the young boys who wants to become footballers and play to the highest level, it's discipline and hardworking, taking right messages, stick to the plan of your coaches, respect your teammates, be selfless, and respect the logo of the club, and understand that the club comes first, even comes before your coach, your club owner. Example, Kotoko and House has been there for so many years. Everybody has come and go. So wherever you find yourself, any team you find yourself, the team comes first. So work hard, and working hard is not also enough. Working hard is not enough. You also need to be smart as a footballer. So be prayerful, and these are the things that I did during my career and after my career, and it's helping me. So the players should go for what they want, and then the sky will be the limit. I wish them all the best, the young stars and the future stars. We are looking forward to see you in the near future. Thank you.
Now, I want you also to tell coaches, young coaches, in as much as you're a young coach yourself and an administrator, you've already learned a lot on the job, and also your qualifications and everything. You've learned a lot. So I want you to tell something to inspire young coaches. Maybe some people want to coach, but they feel they need to go into football and play actively first.
No. You don't need to play football before you can coach. Our special man, Jones Moreno, where did he play to? I mean, he's just taking the course and understand simple basis ones, things that involve with the coaches and how coach can manage player stress. And I mean, coaching is something that I can encourage all the young coaches and then those upcoming ones to enter into it. We have so many players in Ghana, so we need a lot of coaches who will come and also help the young boys. But like I said, it's all about education, and then read and learn, get your philosophy right, and you yourself, the coach, you have to demonstrate If you are not disciplined, your players will not be disciplined. So if you want your players to be disciplined, first start from you, because your action will always, your behavior will always reflect on the players. So that's a little advice I can give, and I believe that those who are into coaching, they understand all these words that I'm preaching here. Thank you.
Wonderful. We are about to drop in the curtains, but you are a coach now. You had a playing career, so now that you also have the coaching knowledge in addition, I want you to name an 11-man squad.
11-man squad
that you played with.
Oh, that one I won't do it, because my 11-man squad, they are more than 100. I'm somebody who always admire and respect everybody's contribution. There's no way I can say this is number 2, this is number 10, and the other number 10, what happened to him? Yeah, so for me, I played with the great players. I know great players, and they are more than 100 and 200. So I don't have 11.
Okay. That's really interesting. Where would the rest go if I pick the 11?
Exactly.
That's true. John Paintsil, thank you so much for having time for us.
It's a pleasure.
We are grateful you gave us the opportunity to come through and tell your story after the pitch, what has been happening with you. And it just shows that there's more life even after the pitch than on the pitch. We are so grateful, and thank you for the contributions you're currently doing to Ghana football's advancement and also grooming the next level of stars that we need in our society. We are grateful.
Thank you. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you.
All right.